So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our video of your marriage. So, we're tackling this subject again of marriage, and today we're going to talk about your destined spouse. The spouse, what exactly are you getting in your life? That's what we're going to talk about today. And this particular concept, is known as the concept of Darakaraka. Planet which is with the lowest degree. Meaning, when you go and see your birth chart, especially Vedic Astrological birth chart, which you can go at this link, karasastrology.com, on the shop section, option 6, which is your astrological birth chart, or you can go for any options and you'll get, especially in my readings, you'll get the report regardless. And you'll see on the second page or in your Jaimini section, Jaimini, just look at the abbreviation DK, Darakaraka. The planet with the lowest degree, you'll see between 0 to 30 degrees, any planet that is closest to that 1 degree, 0 degree point, that becomes your planet of Darakaraka. And remember, there's only few planets that can become this. Not all. The only planets that can become Darakaraka are planets like Sun, Moon, Mercury, Venus, Jupiter, Mars, and Saturn. Seven. Okay, 7. Some people follow 8. I don't use that. I don't follow that, which is where Rahu is included. Then people will also ask me questions like, can Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, Ketu can become your any kind of a Karka, Dharakarka, Atmakarka? No. It's only 7. Now, here's an interesting concept. Darakaraka, the planet with the lowest degree, is not just the planet for your spouse that defines your spouse, because the definitive thing, this is what you're going to get in life. Remember, this is what you're going to get in life. But Darakaraka also represents your status, represents your growth in your profession. Which is why we say that after marriage, a lot of things in a person's life changes. Why do you go through a transformation? It's not just Venus. It's because the Darakaraka is holding your 7th house energy. And 7th house is 10th from the 10th, so it becomes the status of your work. It is 4th from the 4th. So it becomes your establishment of your happiness, comfort, peace. It is also represents the planet where Saturn is exalted. So natural success comes in. Commitment is seen. Your business is seen. Your fame is seen. So Darakaraka, regardless of where it's placed in your birth chart, whichever house it's placed in, whichever sign it's placed in, it is going to have complete focus of the 7th house. And then here's the other interesting concept. This is something I actually learned from Eklavya. Beautiful concept where I remember he said, Darakaraka is a planet that represents the energy of Ketu. Because it's the planet with the lowest degree. So low, south. Ketu, which is past. This is why they say, especially Kapiel Raaj has said, that marriage is a deal you make with your enemy from past life. There's some incomplete karma that has to be completed in this particular life by both of you coming together as husband and wife. Okay. So, or even husband, wife, regardless, you're here to complete some karma. So Ketu represents that past. This is why Darakaraka will be about all your past life karmas are now starting to churn. Real karma really becomes active after marriage. Okay. And then Atmakaraka, the planet with the highest degree, is like Rahu. Because it's north, it's high. That is your ambition. And this is why if we're taking Rahu and here we have Ketu, the Darakaraka, it's like you need both of them for Rahu to complete itself, Swayambharu to become alive, to take charge of things. Now, one time you will see, especially when planets are below 1 degree. Planets are below 1 degree. Let's say there's 0.56, 0.34, 0.58 or something, then you will see your marriage is to happen, but it's to happen to activate your spiritual growth. Why? As soon as you get married, you find complete disinterest from material things and material relationship. And suddenly starts taking you towards this spiritual path. Within a few years of the marriage, you will see. You start disconnecting from things, disconnecting from people. Now, there's two different sides to this. One is if, let's say, you're 65, 70 and single, never married, and you have this thing inside you. Oh my God, I wish I was married. My God, I wish I was with somebody. Then what happens is it shows certain curses from past life where you could have done something, separated a family, separated a husband and wife. Maybe you were some general in the army and you did something. Now that karma is coming in this life that where you want to be with somebody, but you can't. That's your punishment. The other is, my God, thank God I don't have a wife or a husband and I don't have children. I'm just free. I feel so at peace. I can visit Varanasi when I want. I can go to any spiritual place and they will go from meeting this guru, going on trips with that guru. They're at peace. They're happy. So now it shows you have completed that particular karma with marriage in your previous life, where in this life, you're here to focus on yourself. Focus on thyself. Okay. So this is the concept of Darakaraka. So today we're going to be focusing on Sun, Moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. Okay, these physical bodies and what they do. And one thing you also have to understand, when planets are in a fixed sign, so let me just quickly say this. When planets are in the fixed sign, especially when your Darakaraka is in a fixed sign, your spouse is going to be very stubborn. No matter what, you cannot change them, regardless of how you got, what type of spouse you got. If they're movable, they'll be more liberal and able to change. They want that change. And especially if it's movable sign, you will see right after marriage, there's some major change that happens in your life. Major move that happens. If it's dual sign, spouse will have duality in them. Like you can't figure out, like make up your mind. 1 minute they're this way, next minute they're that way. 1 minute they're making compromises to change and you see that change, but suddenly they go back to the ways they were. So the dual nature shows duality, multiplicity. So it shows that one has to make multiple attempts to work things out in marriage, to work things out in the path and karma of the marriage. Okay, so let's start with the planets. And then also, I've just uploaded a new video on my Vastu course on Magha Vedic Academy. Okay, so I uploaded that today in my simplified Vastu course because I keep uploading videos, new videos, showing new things. And then I've also uploaded video of Saturn and Rahu combination on my Nandi Nadi course. And I'm going to be uploading Saturn Ketu tonight as well. So this way next week we can start on Bha Chakra, which is the most fun and easiest way to make predictions through Nandi Nadi. All right, so let's get started. But let's say Sun is your Darakaraka, which means what? You're going to get a spouse who's going to be extremely disciplined, extremely timely, extremely righteous, somebody who will be very commanding in nature. The ego will be there. They will be dominating the marriage. But whenever the task has to be done, they'll be there on time to do that task with you. And remember, if other planets are somehow connected with this sun, yeah, you might be writing in the comment, I have the worst spouse, I got a divorce, they did this, they did that. Okay, I couldn't care about less about that. Because now you're looking at individual charts. You're looking at all the planets surrounding your Darakaraka, position in Navamsha, and all of those things. And you will see, especially pay attention with the sun. Is sun in a fixed sign, a movable sign, or a dual sign? Because if it's fixed, especially in your birth chart, if sun is in a fixed, you cannot change your spouse. Because not only sun is there, it is that still body where the planets are going around. Naturally, it's still. Okay? But if sun is in a movable sign, at least you can wobble it here and there a little bit. They can, suffice to certain compromises to meet your needs. But if it's in fixed, what you get, what you have is what you get. If it's in dual, you will see a person will be very dual-natured. Dual-natured individual. 1 minute the spouse will want one thing and the next minute want this. 1 minute she's following or he's following this political party. Boom, suddenly they change themselves to this other political party. So there will be this duality. If it's movable, spouse is going to be a little bit liberal towards meeting your needs and not just being stubborn about their things in life. If moon becomes your Darakaraka, you're pretty much marrying somebody who's going to be needing emotional stability constantly, meaning you say something, even sarcastic comments to your spouse, and boom, they will take it to the heart. Now, and then, especially again, if moon is in a fixed sign, okay, now this is a different concept. If moon is in a fixed sign, they'll be more stable in their nature. They'll be much more stable even when you become sarcastic. But if it's moon in a water sign, then you're going to have to become a surfer on that ocean. If you say something, you're going to be the one riding that wave. If moon is in a dual sign, this is where it'll become a constant battle where you're going to be walking on eggshells. If I say this, how will my spouse react? Will they just emotionally shut down, become very defensive? They will not do anything. So again, that dual nature comes in. And also with moon as your Darakaraka, you are going to get a spouse who's going to treat you like a child. Why? Because your spouse becomes the mother. They have a motherly nature. They're going to want to know where you're going, what you're doing, who you're with, what are their names, did you eat your food, did you take this, did you take your medicine? Okay, no, you're not going to watch this is not good for you. Don't watch TV at night. Go to sleep early at night and wake up early. Like you'll feel like you're married to a pretty much like a mother from past life. So they're going to become naturally very homely, motherly, but then it could turn into smothering. It could be overwhelming depending upon how that moon is and which planet moon is with. And suddenly, especially in that dual nature, dual signs, moon becomes cold. Suddenly, the waves of the ocean suddenly becomes frozen lakes. So you deal with those things. And also you will see with marriage, your spouse will desire to travel quite a bit. But actually, that's where the emotional stability comes in the marriage, when you travel. Any problems in the marriage that occurs, start traveling. When you eat good food doesn't mean vegan, healthy, or any of that. Anything that just makes you feel good. Whether it's a Michelin star restaurant or whether it's that street food you go to, you go with your spouse and you eat. And your spouse, because moon is the Darakaraka, they'll enjoy that. Let's say Mercury is your Darakaraka. Well, then you're pretty much marrying a childlike individual. They're going to be very curious about everything, but very changeable about their nature, just like the moon, because Mercury is naturally the son of moon. So Mercury is going to have those things. So one minute they want to do this, the next minute they want to do that. One minute they're doing Pilates, then the next minute they want to do yoga. One minute they want to go into this type of house, next minute they want to go into they very fast pace moving nature of this individual. And in one instance, you can enjoy that because it's like, wow, I have like this high school friend I'm married to, and we just have this adventure. But the other thing is that they may not be able to take certain things so seriously. They will not be so much focused on the big responsibility, but they will only focus on the small little things that brings joy and fun into lives, including also, and again, this is why I said an individual chart has to be seen. Either they can be extremely focused towards studying, like wanting to get their PhD, master's degree, double master's degree, triple PhD, postdoctoral, whatever. Or you'll have a spouse who will love watching gossip shows, reading about gossip things, reading about romantic novels, reading about what's happening on TMZ. That's the type of spouse you will attract. And remember, because that Ketu's energy is there, okay, because of this, because Darakaraka is a karmic planet, so there's going to be this language barrier that becomes like that karma with this Darakaraka. There's this communication gap that occurs in the marriage. You are going to see, because you're Atmakarka. Now imagine if your Saturn is the Atmakarka, Mercury is the Darakarka. It works well, but the thing is, your talking points are far different than your spouse's, and this is where it's not going to match. You may want to talk about politics. They're talking about what movie and what hero or actor is in that movie, and you want to go see that movie. Yet, one where a place this does really well is when you work with your spouse in terms of business. This is where you're bringing your Mercury alive. And that's the advantage you can have, is that if you were to do business with your spouse, they'll be very good at marketing, sales, communications to help you out. Because the Atma Karka is looking to Dhara Karka for its connection. This is why it becomes important with this Mercury. And Mercury especially will do extremely well in fixed and air signs. In water signs, it's not bad, especially if it's in Scorpio, because that can give sudden burst of surprises related to business gains. But also, if let's say your Mercury is in a water sign, your spouse must make emotional decisions related to business, related to home. They can't be logical. The moment they become logical, the moment things fail. So you should encourage them for at least when it comes to your business or your life, be more emotional, be more reactive emotionally, because then they will be able to make that right decision. Let's say Venus is your Darakaraka. Venus is Darakaraka is a beautiful position, very diplomatic individual, okay? And at the same time, they will be quite interested in politics, resolving differences, resolving issues, and you will see right after marriage, you will start dressing up well. Why? Because you found your connection. That Venus became activated with the marriage. And so your spouse is going to be the one who's gonna make you or show you what is it mean to be serene, to be in a beautiful environment, to be in a very ambient environment. Like if you were a messy college kid and then you married a wife with you because you have Venus as your Darakaraka, slowly your environment, the way it changes your money mentality. You become a different person when you think about money. That's what Venus as Darakaraka does. They show you the value of money, the value of growth, and the value of beauty. Like you will see, if let's say you're a minimalist, and it's not by purpose, naturally you just don't want stuff. But if you marry somebody with Venus as your Darakaraka, you will see in your home after marriage, it's not like there's going to be this messy clutter and you're going to feel claustrophobic. Suddenly your environment will have a lot of things, but they're so arranged beautifully that it becomes very conducive with your own mindset. And doesn't matter Venus is exalted, debilitated. Actually, you will see debilitated Venus. You'll get a very humorous, very romantic, very attention grabbing individual. Somebody's earthy. They're there for the earth. The real love will be earth. Do you know with Venus and Pisces at your Darakaraka, you'll be like, where's love? I'm still looking for love. Where is it? And your spouse will say, oh, it's inside me. Of course I love you. It's inside me. Because their love is etheric. While we as humans, we need earthy love. We need that touch and passion and talk. Okay. So, especially like I said, with Venus, the money management within the marriage becomes the most activated point. Whether it's positive or negative, it becomes the most activated point. Okay. If let's say you take Mars as your Darakaraka, well, here you got either a best friend for life or you've got the enemy for life, meaning this person will be there standing and fighting for you. This person will be, no matter what happens, whoever shows up your door, whether it's your wife or husband, they'll be front, right there behind you, sometimes even in front of you, wanting to make sure things are there, you're protected. The whole entire, your marriage environment becomes like a fortress. It's about protection. It's about survival. Okay, and it's about the brotherhood of the soldiers. So you find a person who will naturally become, this is actually, to be honest with you, Mars as a Darakaraka becomes a very great position because it's like somebody who's gonna be there. Your marriage partner is there to motivate you. Now, they can be motivating you towards the wrong things. They can be motivating towards the right things. For example, you're a normal person, you married somebody, and they motivated you to start some business, which was pretty much like a pyramid scheme scam or something, and do shady things. And the other one is motivating you to accomplish your goals. Yeah, we can do this. We can start this restaurant. Let's do this. Like they will be there telling you, we can do it. Let's do this. And especially the whole foundation of the marriage is going to be based upon being physically active. Your spouse is going to either become very physically active or they will become psychologically aggressive. Those are the two things that happens. If there's laziness, then we have to see what is surrounding this particular Mars. Is somehow Rahu, Saturn are surrounding this particular Mars. And what sign Mars is placed in. Does it go into Virgo? Does it go into like Capricorn or Pisces? So those things differ, but here simply Mars shows is like you are either with the best friend or again you're with that opponent, the octagon. But with Mars, they're going to make you get up. If you do not want somebody to make you do things physically, make you physically active, focusing on your health, focusing on your wellness, then yeah, you would rather be then single. because this is the Mars you're going to get. But again, you need that Mars. And also you will see, um, even if a person, and of course this depends upon the yoga you have in your life, your spouse will always try to motivate you to go buy a home. Let's get a piece of land. Not even a home, agricultural land. Let's get a land. Let's grow something. They will always be connected with that. Sometimes you will see a spouse will come through a family of agricultural and farmers. Even if it's Saturn, you will see the same thing. Let's say Jupiter becomes your Darakaraka. This is a heavy position. As much as you would be like, Jupiter, amazing, awesome. No, think about it first. What is Jupiter known as? So if Jupiter is holding the lowest degree, Jupiter is known as the heavy one. Right? It's the biggest planet, especially not the star, the planet with the greatest gravitational force. It is the heavy one. Which means what? Your marriage is going to become full of heaviest responsibility. Number one. That's the first thing. Your path becomes the type of path that a guru will be taking. And guru will never accept an easy path. Guru is going to want a path that is going to be full of real world. This is not like bad path or good path. They want the real path. Okay, fine. I have to walk 60 miles from here to that particular temple or that meditation place. All right, I'll walk. That's my path. That's my struggle. That's my God. So now what happens is with marriage, your path becomes very real. It's like you have married a guru who's going to now show you the discipline of life, structure of life. As much as you would be thinking about Saturn, no, it would be Jupiter. Jupiter brings about the heaviest karma because you're here to purify yourself, clean yourself. It's like with Jupiter as Darakaraka, it's like you're going from your home in Mumbai to take a dip in Ganga in Varanasi or Banaras. And so the whole process starts from the day you get married. You're packing your bags, you're getting into the car, and then you drive the car to the train station or something, and then the flight gets delayed, flight gets canceled. You take your car and you start driving because that's what you have to do. Jupiter's like, let's go, we're going there. So now you're driving 8-9 hours, okay, every day for the next 2-3 days. Car breaks down. Now you have to fix something. Then you park the car, and then you have to walk maybe 20 miles just to get to that point so you can take a dip in that Ganga water. This is what Jupiter is now teaching you. And what it does, literally you will see this 12 years, 12th year, either 3rd, 7th or 12th year. Usually it's 7th or 12th year. You will completely be a different person. Completely be a different person in your life. Depending upon what wisdom that Jupiter is here to teach you, whether it's here to really truly punish you or to make you into a refined individual, you'll be a changed person. You'll be a changed person. And especially with Jupiter, you will see as a Darakaraka, after marriage, spouse becomes very heavy. They get a belly for sure. And I made this short video too about how certain astrological concept you follow makes your body. So like Vedic astrology is like the mother of all astrology. It's the Gita of astrology, right? Everybody starts from Parashari astrology. So this is why you will see most people will start out for a long period of time and they will develop that belly. Whether you switch to Nandinadi, whether you switch to Jaimini. But if you strictly then do this, because sometimes always we're using some concept of Parashari. So most of the time you will see a lot of astrologers, become have belly, and but that's the thing, that they become Jupiterian. They are full of abundance and abundance advice. That's what the belly represents. The bigger the belly, the more the abundance of wisdom is in there. Okay, it's like a universe starts forming in there. Saturn as your Darakaraka. Spouse is either going to be extremely lazy, love for sleeping in the middle of the day, always procrastinating on things, or they will be the type of person who is more outside working and barely coming at home. They're coming home at late night. Politically very charged. They will also come from very humble beginnings. And this is why when you get Saturn as your Darakaraka, your spouse, you will see, whether it's a husband or wife, whenever they get married, they will be like, I don't need money. I don't want wealth. I don't care for that. All I want is just this small thing. All I want is just this particular thing, from you. That's it. I just want you to give me some flowers on Valentine's Day. I don't really care for this big thing. Because here, Saturn, which is, again, and Saturn is the epitome of Darakaraka. Because Saturn is exalted in the 7th house, Darakaraka is the 7th house. Saturn is long-term commitment. Saturn represents like chronic things, chronic disease. So what happens is marriage becomes this chronic thing. Whether it's chronic happiness, sadness, or this work, but it'll be long-term. Your spouse, you may want to leave, but your spouse is not going to leave you no matter what. No matter what, they will stick with you. They will stay with you. And at the same time, usually Saturn will bring a very old spouse, especially in age. Even in age, there will be whether a few months, few years, or big difference in age. Okay, and then the other thing you will notice, right after marriage, your activation and transformation in career happens. Career starts going up. Why? Because again, we're looking at the energy of Darakaraka of 7th house, which is also Libra. Saturn is exalted in Libra. So when Saturn is the Darakaraka, Saturn feels like it's in Libra and it's exalted. But it only happens once you get married. And this is where business success comes in. So if your Saturn is your Darakaraka, you will do business right after marriage. Or if you were doing business will skyrocketing, but it'll be a steady climb. It won't be like this boom, boom type thing. It'll be a steady, long-term climb. Sometimes even generational climbs if Ketu's there with Saturn. Okay, so this is but again, with Saturn is the furthest planet. There will be coldness. Okay, depending upon who's surrounding Saturn, there could be complete coldness and space in the marriage. So that's something you will see because you are the Atmakarka, your sun. Right? Planet with the highest degree. So here's Sun and here's Saturn, the furthest planet. So what happens is there's this complete space, like sometimes disconnect, misunderstanding, especially depending upon what your Atmakarka is. Okay. Now let's say if your Atmakarka is Sun, and then Saturn is your Darakaraka. What is happening? Between you, there's all these planets. So what it shows me is that your entire life becomes active after marriage. Each aspect of your life. From your communication, to money, to knowledge, to health, to this, all of it aspect is becoming active. When let's say your Atmakarka is Jupiter and Darakaraka is Saturn, they're right next to each other. Between them, there's nothing else. So your entire life becomes about work and knowledge and wisdom. Other things won't matter. So sometimes you want to see what is between which planets come in chronologically between your Atmakarka and your Darakarka. But also, Saturn is a rebellious planet. Saturn rebels. So spouse will also be having a very rebellious nature. They may not want to listen to you, not because you are wrong, You could be correct, but they feel internally that no, if I don't rebel, I will lose my worth in this. So now I have to rebel. So that would take place with Saturn as your Darakaraka. Okay. So again, we can actually go so like deep. Like I can take, let's say, Jupiter as your Darakaraka. Okay. And just based on your chart, Jupiter as the Darakaraka, I can say 30 to 40 things. Like literally you can make it like a 30-minute reading just on this one Karaka. I may actually do that. Maybe I'll do that on Instagram. I'll go live. I'll pick somebody. I'm like, what's your Darakaraka? Give me all the planets surrounding it. What's your ascendant? Okay. Now, listen to me. I'll probably do that. Just so you know how fun it is to just, especially with Jaimini. And again, for me, I have to thank my Jaimini guru, which is Mark Boney. Mark Boney really showed me the most simplest and the best Jaimini ever. Nothing complicated, nothing. Just the simplest thing and in the most beautiful thing. But again, there's not much written about Darakaraka. You will see. It's just basically very few quotes on the Darakaraka in the Jaimini Sutra. These things that I'm talking about is simply from the best knowledge I've received, which is what? Practical charts. Doing marriage consultations for people. Finding out people's lives, especially when they tell me about their marriage and what happened, and I'm paying attention to the Darakaraka 7,000. I'm like, oh, that's what Darakaraka is doing. This is why it's here. So if you want to know if something is missing in astrology and you want to know, you just start doing readings of people. Start finding out. Okay. And of course, if you want consultations and all those things, just go to ksastrology.com under shop section. And also I've uploaded a new video on my Vastu course today. And I have uploaded Saturn Rahu combination of Nandi Nadi course in my academy, Magha Vedic Astrology Academy. And then today I'll also be doing Saturn Ketu. So this way I can start on Bha Chakra next week, which is the most fun part of astrology. That's where the real prediction is. So anyway, I hope this has helped and given some insights into your Darakaraka in your particular birth chart. Thank you.